Welcome and warning. This podcast is designed to help you think outside of the box. We will be talking about triggering topics, so please be advised. All right, welcome back, Pants. Woo!
Hello, Pantswell.
All right.
What's new?
So, not a whole lot since last week. It's just, another week has passed and I'm housewifing right now. So, all right. So, last week we talked about Georgia Tien. You never heard of her before.
No, that was a
And
crazy story.
Right? And so, okay. And since then, you did some research. So why don't you tell me what you found on old Miss Tan?
The thing that surprised me the most was how long. I mean, it was never in an accredited childcare place. Never,
No,
it says
adoption
that
facility.
for like 10 years or whatever, it was just an unaccredited adoption agency. It's like, okay, so, and they didn't stop them?
Well, the
No?
court was involved.
Nobody
That
checked up on
Kelly
this?
or whatever. She was completely complicit in it, which is like even more fucked up to me.
But like we had like government agencies then. It's not like we're,
Yeah,
back in the 1700s. Yeah, I
right.
don't get it. Like how they just kept going. Like it was a popular place.
Uh,
Nuts.
well, and that's my whole thing is I'm like, okay, was this all like for celebrities and these elite people like only? Like, do
No.
you know what I'm?
Yeah, that's what I found out was
The
like
people that were
people
trying to
were getting
circumvent the
boys.
actual government agencies
Yeah.
were the ones using her, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, like I don't know how it worked back then, but there was no technology. So I feel like you could have wrote like a birth certificate, just wrote it on a piece of paper, and that would have been good back then.
Fucking
You know what I
Xavier
mean? Like it's
Roberts doing his
crazy to
little
me.
Cabbage Patch Babies. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like and then that lasted a very long time. Like I remember in the one Ted Bundy doc I was watching, like he just made his own driver's license. He typed it up on a like index card
Did he really? I didn't know that.
that was good enough to pass for an actual driver's license, and that was in the 80s. Yeah, it's
Holy
hard to
shit.
wrap your brain around. There's no
Well,
picture, there's no not there was not nothing. So like
oh my
50
God, were there not
years
pictures
before
back then?
that, and not for Ted Bundy, no, he just had a card. That was his
Oh.
fake license
Well, like maybe like a temporary
that he
one, because
made.
when you get like the temporary one in Pennsylvania, I just remember this whenever when we had moved to Harrisburg at one point.
Oh, yeah, I know what you
Yeah, we
mean.
got like that temporary card. So I guess you
Yeah,
could fucking do. Oh my God, I had no idea about that.
like just say, "Hey, I just moved here. This is what I got."
Yeah. So, cause yeah, I got so I got pulled over. Luke and I had moved to Harrisburg, and we couldn't come back home for like a couple weeks. And when we finally came back home, obviously that weekend, like we went out up to my one friend. He had, well, it was his friend, but we went up to his house. They had a big party. They're like, come up. We had been up there drinking. I had quit drinking because I knew we were gonna drive home. Well, here I left my bag with all my contact shit in Portage. So instead of just driving to his parents' house, was probably 2 miles. We drove 15 miles or whatever to Portage, and I get pulled over at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I do freaking breathalyzer. I pass. Well, no, I'm sorry. The breathalyzer fucking broke. So I might have still had alcohol. So like, I don't know if like the fucking God was looking out for me that day. Um,
Yeah.
but I was explaining because he's like, well, you're on the road. I was like, dude, I'm really tired. I worked all day. We just came in, we moved away. And then he was like, the cop was like, well, can you show me anything to prove that? And I said, actually, I can. I pulled out my temporary license and then my license from when we lived back home, and everything added up. And he was like, okay. And he's like, I'm going to let you go with the warning. And I was like, listen, I left my contact stuff at my parents'. Like, I needed to get these out of my eyes. I should have threw them in the garbage, but I had monthly subscription at that point, but whatever.
Just not thinking, yeah.
We were young still. So like now I'm like, oh,
Hindsight
whatever.
is 2020.
What's that? Oh yeah,
Hindsight
absolutely.
2020.
Absolutely.
I have
So,
it all the time.
oh yeah. Yeah, me too. So, okay. So Georgia Tan, did you find anything else out about her? Was that pretty much like what you found?
There wasn't much to her story itself. Just
Mhm. Other than they had I mean,
saw.
she did have that judge involved or whatever, which
Yeah, but like I
shade.
guess if you're just friendly with people back then, like you know what I mean?
When they
Like
fucking just vouch for you, they're like, "Oh, yeah, she's
like
great."
and there'd be no way to investigate if somebody was like paying somebody off. You know, like now they could just look it up. Like everybody
Right?
does everything on a phone or like, you know what I mean? Like there's a trail. Back
Yes.
then it was just like a word of mouth. Hey, don't handshake deal. Like I'm gonna pay you off and you just keep making let us do this. Look
Right,
the
and
other way, do what
obviously,
you gotta do.
I feel like it's obvious that that judge was getting a kickback out of that, like, she had to have
Oh,
been
for
getting some.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I don't think
like
it was ever
and then
proven though.
no, and the thing is, like, again, you're right, totally word of mouth, like, "Oh, this is my friend." Yeah, of course she wouldn't, like, put a bunch of kids in danger for her own pocket's sake, you know?
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine how
It's
many guys just even from like, well, you saw Mad Men or whatever. Everything was a
oh, I
handshake behind the scenes deal over scotch at like 11 in the morning.
yeah. Alright. Okay, so Georgia Tien, I think we've touched we yeah, we both of us can't get past the fuckery. However, so I am reading a book right now. I think I mentioned it to you before because I've only picked up like bits and pieces from things I've heard in podcasts or like things I've read about, but I'm now reading Program to Kill by David McGowan. Have you heard of this book?
No.
Listen,
W-
I'm on page fucking 33, Justin, and all I'm telling you is I am already like to the point where I was like they're all connected. Everything is fucking connected. It
Yeah.
is so weird. I mean, like just the amount of stories like right now that I've read, and then I start like digging into each of them. I have notes, I have highlights, I have I have fucking stickers all through just these first couple pages of things that I'm going to dive into. But one of the things that it reminded me of is how, like, basically the Lindbergh baby case, like, so I have a whole podcast that I've already recorded on Lindbergh baby case, and I didn't post it yet, but long story short, like, Charles Lindbergh was the 3rd in his family, like, that was kind of, like, to note and kinda kicking back. His grandfather was actually some sort of, like, politician, and I wanna say Sweden? I can't recall which country, but okay, regardless of where he came from, him and his, like, mistress got pregnant with Charles Lindbergh's father, and they fucking fled the country because he got in trouble. He was, like, being, like, kicked out of his position anyways or whatever, so they
Wow.
fucking fled to the United States. So then his son becomes some sort of, like, congressman or something. So Charles Lindbergh's dad was, like, already a congressman. Charles Lindbergh was fucking crazy too. He was a eugenicist. So he was like all about like Aryan nation. And he has this little baby. So his like heir to his like and he like him and his wife were basically royalty in the United States. So I want to say this was like the 30s is when that whole case went out. I yeah, like I said, I recorded it. I'm kind of going off of memory right now. But that case was one that like brought in the feds, so like the FBI.
Yeah.
However, just wait till where I get with this. So it seems like a good thing. It seems like this is where things start getting tightened up because the baby was taken apparently maybe taken across state lines or something, but some fucking basically he was found like there was ransom notes, all this shit, and they pinned it
Mhm.
down on one guy. And the guy was killed for it, like, he was put to death for it and stuff, but it basically the more I look at it, I kinda think Lindbergh was involved. I think it was one where there was, like, this small group of people because this little baby had, like he had a giant head, he was, like, not meeting milestones and stuff, and he was said to have rickets, so that was, like, a deficiency vitamin deficiency or some shit at the time. So, he,
Yeah.
like, was one where his whole ideology, though, as eugenicist was like, don't fucking you don't have kids like that. You dispose of them
Yeah.
because it's supposed to
Clean
be
it up.
perfection. Yeah, we're supposed
Hmm.
to clean all the shit out, you know? And as a
Yeah.
autism mom, like, fuck, what a dick.
Oh,
Um,
no doubt.
you know what I mean? I'm like, what a
Yeah.
fucking asshole. So, that case then They needed to pin it on something, and that's what I'm learning
Yeah.
is, like, basically in every one of these, JonBenet Ramsey, they always are looking for, like, this one person to pin it on,
Yeah.
when really it's starting to look like in each of them, it's like these small groups that are, like, really involved. There's more than one person. So in this one, they said, "Oh, this case is the one that made," like, they're the ones that allow the FBI to get involved so that there could be, like, because the investigation was so fucking botched. So
Yeah.
that seems like a really good thing, right?
Yeah.
To me, I was like, "Oh, yay, look at that." However, then I'm reading my fucking book the other night, and I was like, "Oh my god." So, what case were they talking about? I'm trying to think. Oh, there was this whole case out of, like, Britain, and I wanna say it was, like, in the '80s that, like, they I don't even remember. I can't recall off the top of my head, I'd have to look into it more, but they're like, basically, all these politicians were involved, all these people started committing suicide then around this case, and it, like and then, like, it shows that it just keeps going back, going back, going back, but
Yeah.
then the FBI they weren't fucking arresting anybody, and then if they did, the people got a slap on the wrist, so then it, like, dawned on me, I was like, "Fucking Lindbergh baby case, like, no
Hmm.
wonder they wanted them involved, so then it can be like, "Okay, let's just go ahead and,
Yeah.
dust this one under the fucking rug."
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Crazy.
oh, I have so much to talk just in this book. Once you and I are gonna have we're gonna have years of podcasting. This is gonna be happening for
Right.
years.
Right.
Yeah. Do you know
Um,
anything about the Limburger case? Did you know or I say Limburger, it's
yeah,
Lindbergh. I sound like a freaking idiot.
Lindbergh.
The Limburger's a fucking
Yes,
cheese.
we know
Yeah,
who you mean.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I looked it up. I read about it, and I think I watched some YouTube stuff on it.
Yeah, so
There
it's
might
it's
have been an
pretty jacked.
episode of something I found somewhere about it. Yeah, so a couple things, but that's one of those ones. Like, how will you ever know like what happened? Like how
You're
you know what I
not.
mean?
I guess a lot of and then, like, there's also, like, in a lot of these cases, there's always, like, these weirdos that come forward that are like, "Oh, hey," like, in the Lindbergh baby case, they had this Jofsy fucking person. He was, like, a fucking retired teacher or some shit, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, let me be the mediary." And then he, like, wrote a book, and, like, he was, like, just taking and here, the guy that discovered the baby's body was just some poor fucking truck driver who was, like God bless the poor guy, like, yeah, he didn't seem to have anything, like, involved in it, he just wanted to go back to his life after
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
this
yeah,
Jofsy character, he's like, "Oh, life according to Jofsy," or whatever his fucking book was called, and it was like, "What?" They all have them. They all have these people that are like, "Oh, I was so tied to the case." Even Zodiac, I mean, they had that one guy I mean, I think he's still alive, but that one reporter that was, like, so heavily involved.
yeah,
Do you know anything about that case?
yeah. I watched a bunch of documentaries about it. Yeah.
Did you see the
Are
one
are you
about
talking
that
about
guy?
the guy that's still
They
he
still
was alive?
haven't yeah, never
Yeah,
nailed
and he
that one
was like,
down.
I've been asked about this so many times. Yeah, I wish people would stop bugging me about it.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. It's not me, yada yada. But this one guy just kept staying in his ass. So
Yeah.
it kind of, I mean, like he has so many things pointing to this guy.
Right. Well, did you watch the Netflix one about, the people that little family that, like, grew up with that guy, Mr. Allen or whatever? And they were like, "Oh, yeah, like, we're starting to think he was the Zodiac, and here's why." And, like, the guy was, like, kinda heavy and stuff, but they were like, "Oh, he would go to the pool, and, like, he was able to do all these flips, and then he would teach them all ciphers and shit like that."
I think it's the same one I'm talking about,
Okay.
or I'm thinking
I
about.
have the last episode to finish up. I had watched it, like, maybe, I don't know, when it first came out, but it's been a minute, and then I was like, "I'm gonna go
Same.
visit this one because it was really good. So that's one we should talk about here because I was like, "Damn," like, then I think you find out I'm not sure, but if I remember correctly, the guy was, like, diddling those kids and shit then.
Remember
Like,
that?
they were adults now. I don't know. I'll watch it before I'm quoted on any of
Oh
that.
yeah, that's the
Like, I'll
problem with like I watch every documentary that comes out like on several different streamers and like
yeah.
they all jumble together or I saw it so long ago that I've watched 50 since I saw that so I can't really remember all the details. I don't know. That's my it's my issue with watching as much content as I do. Like it's just all jumbled in there somehow.
Same, yeah, and I always, like, remember bits and pieces of each
Same.
thing, so
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so Georgia Tan, yep, we got that
Yeah.
down. All right, look at us. We're kinda staying on topic today. Um, all right, so you found a connection then, like, you found I had done we talked about Joan Crawford last week,
Yeah.
and we kinda brought up Bette Davis, and I wanted to talk heavily on her, next. So but you found a connection, so you wanna talk about that?
Oh, Betty Davis's feud with Joan Crawford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know
It was
anything about
but like yeah, kind of everything they were doing the same thing at the same time in their own different ways though. Like they were being like the top dog for and they were in separate studios, contracts for like several movies at a time. But I know one of the reasons and like there's a lot on this actually. It blew my mind. Uh the guy Betty Davis was dating was kind of like maybe stolen by Joan Crawford. That kind of was like something that happened,
Interesting.
and Joan ended up marrying that guy. So
Oh.
Betty, I guess
Was that the
during the
Pepsi or
period,
Coca guy?
I forget his name. I honestly forget his
Okay.
name. I should have wrote it down, but I was like, no, I'll remember that. No, he's an actor. He's an actor. So he
Okay.
was working with this studio, Betty's studio, and then something happened. I guess went with Joan's studio and was making movies with her, but kind of like a Brad Pitt thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that
Aniston and then Angelina. Yeah. Anyway,
yep.
so that they both said like there was no animosity between them for that, but everybody's still claiming like how women are like they're not just letting that shit go. You stole my boyfriend, like you know it's still in there somewhere. So the big thing was they were both competing for like the highest salaries because they were like the two top women. So there was that rivalry where they were like trying to out
Age
perform each
together
other.
and try to keep yeah.
Yeah, but they were at the same events all the time, so they were friendly, that kind of thing.
Okay. So
But they
frenemies.
weren't like, yeah, they weren't hanging out at each other's houses or anything. Uh, and then like they battled for this one big role that apparently won an Oscar, and like I think Joan got the role instead of Betty, that kind of thing. This was later after they could actually negotiate in their contracts that they could move
Oh,
to other
Betty actually won it.
places. Yeah,
Was it for Jezebel?
I think that was it. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
Betty Davis. So Betty Davis, so I'll just go into her whole like what I do know is so she went in she was very like I think she played the roles of like the woman that you kind of fucking hated. Like the like she and she was really kind of relentless and like being like
Hmm.
kind of like mocky at people and but she kind of leaned into what I found with her was she kind of leaned into her aging where Joan Crawford was like, wearing the mask,
Wanted
trying
to
to tighten
be
everything up.
young forever. Yeah, yeah. You're
Yeah, she was
100% right. Yeah.
playing the fuck into the Hollywood bullshit where Betty Davis was like, "No, fuck you. I'm gonna age and you're gonna hire me."
She, yeah, she was pretty ruthless from everything I gathered. I got to
Well,
take notes
yeah,
next time.
they ended up she was dubbed later the fucking, 4th Warner Brother was, like, what they
Yes.
called her
Yeah.
after she
Yep.
caught the Warner Brothers thing. So, yeah, and
Yep.
so let me talk about the case really quick, so I did do a whole recording, and I'm not gonna use it, I wanna use this because I actually like this a lot better where we can kinda chat through it rather than me just spewing facts the whole time, but so basically, yeah, she started off like late 20s, early 30s. She ended up winning
Hmm.
an award, I wanna say pretty early on, or no, when she did her breakthrough role, that's what happened. She had this whole breakthrough role,
Hmm.
and I guess they said she was very unsympathetic when she played her roles, and she was kinda this ruthless bitch-like character, and she just did it so well. Now, I do think kind of her appearance probably helped with that type of role because like,
Yeah.
that's kinda one of those faces you look at and you're like, "Oh god, I fucking hate her." Like, at least I was like, "Oh, she looks
Yeah.
unlikable to
She
me."
just owned it.
She fucking owned it, right, which is
Yeah.
great, and, like, that's kinda what I loved about, like, when I was researching her, I was like, "Damn, I love that," because now that I'm a
Mhm.
little older and, like, we lived through a time where, like, looks and weight and appearances were just so everything for so long and
Mhm.
keeping up with the Joneses, and even though we would, like, say, "Oh, yeah, I'm not," people were. I know I
Mhm.
was. It's kinda like, eh. Now I'm like, "No, I truly don't. I just wanna be me, I wanna be happy, and I wanna just own who I am at this point." So I loved that about her where I was like, "She's not trying to fight this, she's leaning the fuck into it."
Yeah.
That's awesome. But, okay, so the breakthrough rule was called of human bondage, which was in '34, and I guess they said she was just very unglamorous and brutal in her take on it. Now, in this part, the Oscars snubbed her, but, like, the studios, I guess, flipped the fuck out, and they were like, "No, she did so well, like, people loved this so much that, they were like, no," like, they wanted her to be able to be written in to be voted for to win. Didn't work
Yeah.
out for them. So no problem with that. But oh, another thing, so as a veteran, you will like this. She actually, I don't know if you knew this, but she was a co-founder of Hollywood Canteen. Did you know about this?
Nah, I must have glanced over that part.
I don't know how much, yeah, I had to, like, really dig into this a little bit, but during World War II, she was a founder with this Hollywood Canteen, and it ran only a few years, but basically what they did was they wanted to have this, like, morale boosting place for people that were like, these troops that were being deployed. So before they'd get deployed, they'd have them come in. They'd come in their uniforms, they got in for free, they would feed them, and then they would entertain them. Basically, their uniform was like their ticket.
Yeah.
And they would have, like, all these other stars volunteer, so, like, at the time, Rita Hayworth was huge, Shirley Temple actually went and performed, Marlena Dietrich, and they would not only just perform when they went there, they would actually, they would go in and serve food to them, they would help do dishes, they would help, like, anything they needed to do this, but the other caveat was there was no alcohol, so I don't know if this was during Prohibition, I'm so bad with the dates with that, but
Could have
basically,
been,
they would
yeah.
call the police if somebody was caught drinking and stuff because they didn't want anybody fighting. They wanted them there to, like, actually have a good time, enjoy the entertainment, and get ready because there was a good possibility they weren't coming back, or they weren't even coming back
Yeah.
the same, so a lot of them
Oh,
shell
yeah.
shock, PTSD.
They shell shock, yep.
Yep,
No,
so they
Prohibition
wanted
was in the 20s, so they
okay, so
probably
this
just
would
didn't
have
want
been
a
after
bunch of
that, so
drunk
they just
guys.
didn't want them fighting.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it was supposed to be completely joy-filled for them, and I thought that
Yeah.
was really kinda fucking cool.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Very
yeah,
unique.
she said that was probably one of her proudest accomplishments, so I thought that that
Mhm.
was, like, really beautiful that she did something like that with her wealth and her fame, so, but okay, so before that, so year a couple years before that, 1936-ish, she was getting, like, she was so good that they were, like, giving her these shit roles, so Warner Brothers took her in, and they were kinda doing this quantity over quality work, and she wanted to be a quality actress. She wanted her
Yeah.
people to know her for her fucking talent. And, like, I love this because my dad would always say, like, in the 50s and 60s, he would always tell us, like, "You guys don't understand, like, you guys have all these, like, special effects and stuff." He's like, "People back in our day, they had to be a good actor or actress or they wouldn't survive. Like, they had to
Yep.
be talented in order to give the performance." So I kinda love that. Um, Ben's upstairs walking around. So anyways, she was bound to this contract, so they had this renewable contract, and it was like I think it was each year, and they could cut it at any point. She
Mhm.
couldn't do anything, she was bound to it,
Yeah.
so her way of being like, "Fuck you," was she hopped on a fucking plane, and she's like, "I'm going to
Yep.
England. See ya." So she goes out to England, and she gets with these directors, and she starts trying to do work. Well, Warner Brothers were like, "No, we own you. Get back here." She
Yep.
refused. So they went after her. So she was known as Betty Nelson 'cause she was married at that point. So it was, Warner Brothers versus Nelson, and basically what ended up happening was she was like, "Listen, I'm not fucking doing this. This is mediocre bullshit. You're not gonna hold me to this crap, and, you're basically holding me as a slave." Well, the thing was then they were like, "Well, this is really hardly fucking slavery," because they were paying her $1,350 a week in 1936. which would equate to 29,370 right now a week. So they're like, she's not starving over there, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Oh
regardless
man.
though, she still was like, "No, like, you're putting me in crap, and I don't wanna do crap." So they fought.
Hmm.
She did lose the case. So she lost it.
Hmm.
She thought she was gonna get a loophole in it. It didn't work out that way. So the courts in England were like, "Look, you can't just flee and come here. Like, you're bound to a contract. You gotta go back. You know, you don't have to go act for them, but you gotta go stay. You can't act here. You can't stay here and you can't act here."
Yeah.
So she ended up she was like, "Okay, whatever." So she wrote it out, and I do think I don't know if she went back and did a picture or not, but basically in a nutshell, even though she lost the lawsuit, she pretty much did end up winning just because she did open the door for them to be like, "You're not giving me shit anymore. You're gonna let me be involved in these
Yes.
contracts. I'm not gonna
Yep.
just take your garbage." So, she did kinda win, and she left a legacy. Now, she did help a lot of, what was interesting to me was she was able this opened the door for a lot of other actors and actresses, and one of my big things were, like, the way the media treated her was they, like I mean, worldwide, they've treated her like she was this awful human, but at the same time, I wanna say it was Humphrey Bogart, I have notes on this, hold on. They had men that were kind of fighting the same shit, but they were, like, being like, "Look at these, like, relentless men. They're just they're pushing for quality work," but, like, yet it's a woman, and they're like, "That irrational psycho." And, like, for me, I'm like, "No wonder women are so fucked up now," and that's what my whole podcast has been to date, was just kinda talking about, like, she's new like, I knew I wasn't always crazy, I knew I was being kinda fucking gaslit by, like, shit, because, like, honestly, anytime my brother would have any problems at his job, my dad'd be like, "Let me guess, that boss is a woman." What? No, he's been the common denominator at every fucking job he's ever been at.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, she was
Ah,
called the 5th Warner Brother, I'm sorry. Okay, but anyways, that came about 1939. So the whole lawsuit thing was over in '37, but let me see if I can find the men that were involved in this because it like I said, yeah, it's like it's hilarious to see that, oh, and because she kinda, like, always played this, like, crone-like woman, the media fucking leaned into that. They leaned into that, and so that I found really interesting, but let's see here. Oh, I have a whole thing on her dress and everything.
her
Okay,
dress.
so did you look into that?
No, I don't know what you mean.
No? Oh, sorry, I keep getting calls here. Okay, so yes, James Cagney, he sued Warner Brothers. Let's see who else here. Humphrey Bogart, I was right, and then Ronald Coleman. So all of them were, like, fucking suing these people or getting sued, and, like, the media would be like, "Well, we have to see what the courts say." And, like,
Were
you
they
know, with
all
her, they're
suing
like
about their contract or
yeah, so Humphrey Bogart let's see, James Cagney's his was for breach of contract. He ended up winning, but, like, the media with him, they were like, "Look at this tough negotiator." They didn't look at him as somebody who was just some, like, naughty asshole. But
yeah.
he was praised for standing up to the studio for breaching his contract. So his was more he brought his on. Humphrey Bogart, though, was fighting for better roles and contract terms. So his was similar to Betty Davis's. I don't think they
Mhm.
came at him. Humphrey Bogart went after them. But he was looked at being like this very, like, calm and cool, collected man who was just fighting for his rights,
Yeah.
and his gritty independence was, like,
Oh, is
something
that
that
what
came out
is that kind of stuff what caused the actors union or whatever? I don't know I forget what it's
I
called
don't
right
know,
now.
I have to
It's
look
not
into that.
coming to
Actually,
me.
let me write a note on that because I'm wondering
Seems like that was should have been around like in the
already, right?
1910s, 20s or something,
They
but
could've just filed a grievance.
maybe not. I don't know when it started. Yeah.
I'm not sure, that's a great question. We'll look that up here for one of the next episodes because that's a great question. But,
Because them and the writers, like they go on strike every other year now. You know what
Right,
I mean?
yeah,
Like,
and then the unions, yeah, handle it, and they're like, "Look, we have to
yeah,
work this all
it's a
out,"
big deal.
yeah,
Yeah, it's powerful.
yeah.
I guess it is
Well, and
denied. I
that's
don't know.
why I didn't get to see Margot Robbie finish up all of the beautiful Barbie looks because because of the contracts, the writer's contract, and that was part of it, they had to stop touring, so she wasn't able to wear all the planned looks.
Oh,
That was
okay.
heartbreaking to me.
Okay. I feel for you.
Listen, I was a Barbie girl, yeah, that was one of my things. It still is, I love them. Um, okay, so Ronald Coleman, he sued Sam Goldwyn for breach of contract. So he's another one. So all three of these men did go after them, where Betty Davis basically just fled and was like, I'm gonna loophole this shit. So
Mhm.
it was slightly different, but I mean, basically the same damn thing. Like, I mean, it was for the same shit. So that's kind of what I find interesting about that. So again, Betty though she was just looked as like being unruly. And at the time though, again, like one of the, episodes I did, it was how, like, at this point, specifically, especially World War II, I had noted I don't know if you knew this, but you know Rosie the Riveter, like, the, like, pinup, like, "We can do it."
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she's kinda back as, like, this whole icon, but the part that has been lost over years that a lot of women don't know, because I see people dressing up, and I still think, like, I like the whole notion of it, because really it was to get women to be like, "Hey, you have to come in here and help because your man's fighting for your country."
Yeah.
We know that part, but, like, they were going into these factories and shit. Factory work's dirty, right?
Oh,
But when
yeah,
you
big
look at
time.
the propaganda of Rosie the Riveter, here's the part that's lost. They were still pushing out there, like, you still need to keep your hair fixed. You still need to keep your nails done. You still need to keep up with yourself and run your home and go to the factory. Like,
Yeah.
they were putting
Be a single
salons, like,
parent.
fucking
Yeah.
on site to be like, "Hey, bitch, don't miss your manicure. Go get your facial. We don't need wrinkles." Like,
Oh my God.
what?
Different times. It's
Yeah,
weird.
and it's interesting though because again, like on my whole Ilsa Cock episode, which was that crazy bitch from the Ed Gein, like the German lady, the Nazi
Yeah,
sympathizer,
yeah, yeah.
Nazi nut, yeah.
Yeah.
So with her, like they were using her propaganda to be like look what happens if your bitch gets off of a leash. They go crazy. They're
Oh,
nuts.
yeah, yeah.
And they're like, but here in the United States, our women are kept up and they're perfect and they're
Yep.
compliant. So it was all propaganda, and this is shit that I mean, this shaped us as women because this is what our grandparents were learning at the time.
Yep.
You know, don't you step out of line, bitch, and you keep pretty while you're doing it. You know, and that's why I
Yeah.
think they were so like, you're never gonna get a man. At
Yep.
least my grandma was. I thought you didn't deal with that, but like I did.
Yeah, I was around it enough. I know
I'm sure you like.
exactly what you
Did
mean.
you have cousins, like female cousins, that shit was happening to? I don't know,
More
whatever. You were seeing it
friends.
with friends, I'm sure.
Yeah. More. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um. Yeah. All my cousins were boys. Um.
Mine predominantly were too. So, like, I was
Just
the only granddaughter, which
20 of
made it
them.
way harder
Yeah.
on my mom's side. So and that's who we were closest to.
One of my
So,
favorite
like
things to look at is those old ads though, because they show you like I guess we have come a long way because some of them are like they're all funny to me. I just have to say that. Like I will laugh at every one of them, but some of them are like,
oh,
damn,
me too, yeah,
like
I still have a
brutal.
sense of humor.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Even like
fucking
even in
minute
the
on your
80s and
hips forever or minute
70s.
on your lips, forever on your hips, bitch.
Yeah. 70s are pretty wild, but like before from like 69 and before, oh my God, brutal. They didn't care what they said.
Yeah, and, like
I lo Ooh,
and then sorry. It well, and, like,
selling the
heaven
ironing
forbid
board.
they didn't keep their house spotless,
Yeah, like, the ironing ad, the
right?
ironing board ad, like, "Get this for your wife for Christmas," or "How to measure an I for an ironing board for your wife," or something like that. Yeah,
Oh
"Vacuum
my
for a
god.
Christmas for your wife, here's a vacuum." Love them. I laugh every time.
Right. Yeah, and that's what like, "Here, help her keep her house clean so you don't look embarrassed."
Yeah, and then they want them to go into
Yeah.
a plant and do it,
Exactly, and then go
but don't
home and
they
have to put food on the table, like, literally cook the food.
and the
I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah,
think
they
too, it's kind of interesting because they had to have a village back then, I'm guessing. I don't know how the hell they did it.
Yeah. I guess a few of them had to
Yeah,
stay
not
home
a
and watch
fucking clue.
everybody's kids, or
Somebody
I
yeah,
don't know,
somebody had to.
so maybe
Honestly,
they
though,
just
I
had to
think
come
a lot
home,
of, like,
kind of
the
run the
older
vacuum.
siblings, they had larger Oh, go ahead, I'm so sorry.
No, just that they maybe like if they gave part of their wages to a buddy or like whoever was staying home. I don't know how they did it, or maybe they took turns cooking. I don't know. That's like I have no way to find that out right now unless I like really Google it.
Same
Go
with
ahead.
me, like, my grandma's long gone, so I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know what's going on. Oh,
you look like
he's
you look like you were froze up for a
what,
sec.
buddy? Oh, that does
What's
yeah.
he doing today?
This internet today is not working. So goes doing a podcast with a kid with autism. It is what it is. So,
Is it just him
yeah,
there?
I have to I'm in survival mode most of the time. But yeah. So it like and yeah, so even with this, like again, if I had to do this and do my hair and makeup in the morning and chase him around and do like all my and then go to the factory and then come home and try to cook 3 dinners because Grady will pretty much eat anything me and Luke are eating, but like him, he has his toddler diet that he follows and
Oh,
we
of
stick with
course.
it. I feel pretty good cuz he does eat vegetables. So I'm proud of that. Yeah, so it's just yeah, it's hard. Like life is hard as it is. So it's just interesting to look back at all this and what these women were going through. So again, I understand she was making a shit ton of money as an actress when you look at Bette Davis, but the thing that I loved about her was that she ended up helping out like there was a lady named Anna May Wong. Now, I haven't looked anything up on her yet, but she was a Chinese American actress and this kind of opened the doors for her to like start like, basically, she was trying to get better contracts too because she was only put in these, like, fucking stereotypical roles where they were, like, pulling her
Yeah.
eyes back and shit like that, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And, like, yeah, just completely like, "Here, this is all you get because you look Chinese." Like, Jesus. That though, that I feel like we still haven't evolved fully on some of that stuff yet. We're getting there, but I mean, damn. So, I'm glad I was a communication major now. I look back, I laugh because I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, I thank God I took up what I did because now I can see this for what it is," and it's like, "Holy smokes." But there was another one, this Myrna Loy, apparently with Myrna I guess she was dealing with a lot of racism and sexism in Hollywood, and then, Barbara Stanwyck, I don't know who she was, but she was looking for, like she wanted these, like, changes with, like, the long-term contracts, and she wanted more, like she wanted to be able to be more involved in doing more freelance, so she kinda kicked the doors off of it too, where she was like, "I'm not gonna sit here and do your crap rules. I need to go do my own thing in between and whatnot." And then
Yeah.
Mae West was another big one. She was big on, like they were trying to put her in a bunch of shit she didn't wanna be in too, and she didn't like her censorship, so she kinda just went out and wrote her own shit, and then I wanna say she fought against, like, the whole production code on censors and whatnot too, so, I mean, it did make a huge difference with these women, in Hollywood at the time, so I think that did
Yeah.
help us, like, for women to come, a little bit,
Yeah.
kinda helped it move forward. Um let
I
me
guess you
move
kind
back
of have
here
to be
though, because
like,
I wanna talk about
God,
No, go ahead.
hello? Oh no, I was just saying, I guess you have to
Can you
have
hear
just
me?
like and
Yeah,
yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can. My dog's barking
Okay.
again. Ugh. Alright, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, every couple years, you just need a new asshole to stand up for better, whatever your situation is, wherever you are. You know what I mean? Like you have to have it, or there's
Yeah.
no progress. Because the whoever's at the top will always be pushing
N
down. So if you don't have like one guy fight
Absolutely, yeah.
around that grip, then like, no, we're getting this now. But I'm sure it has to be a balance. So you can't have like people just get away with anything.
No,
Like
right,
we have
and
a
I think
union where
that's,
I
like,
work,
what's
and
important
eh,
too.
yeah, just
Oh, I
that
believe me,
union at
with the
work,
my
like they.
previous career and what
Go
I did,
ahead.
I investigated stuff and you would see both sides. And there would be times where you're like, "No, manager, calm your ass down. Like, your
Yeah,
expectations are absurd." But then you'd have
yeah,
employees too that were absolutely absurd as well.
yeah.
Like,
You
and
have
I
to have a
am so
balance.
for the record, never anti-union. I think I've seen them make some dumb arguments over my career, but I also have seen them where they had to stand up for people that were just not even given a voice. And
Yeah,
I mean, there has to be a balance. You are absolutely right. And that's why we have a whole legal system. So I'm like, I get that. The problem is I think with looking at, the cases we just talked about, Lindbergh baby and, Jean Bonnet, like all of them, there's all these weird fucking tie-ins with and Georgia Tien, like the legal system then is corrupt too. And I think you're right. We need some asshole to come in and stand up and be like, No, 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 no. We're going to challenge this a little bit because if we don't, I mean, people are getting like once people get too comfortable and you give them an inch, they take a mile
yeah.
on either end.
Oh, yeah, everywhere. Yeah,
Absolutely. So like that's so important. But here's the cool part about Betty Davis then. So I think too, when so after her lawsuit then, and I said, kind of like open doors and that, they still had to work with her. Well, she ended up doing the movie Jezebel. And she did a couple other ones. I think she had up to like 10 Oscar nominations, but she ended up doing Jezebel. And Jezebel was really actually pretty interesting because at the time, I don't know exactly what the heck this whole like concept was, but I know it had to do with she had to go to like some sort of like event and they were all supposed to wear white to this event. I think what was it? Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my notes here. Hold on.
no, good.
Yeah, let me open this up here. All right. Okay. So this was 1938. Yeah. She played Julie Marsden and in this Southern society, she ended up going to this Olympus ball. And it was where these unmarried women were supposed to go and they were supposed to wear white for like virginity. And she ended up wearing a fucking red dress to like be like, fuck you, patriarchy.
Yeah,
And so it was apparently like the character Julie did this as an act of rebellion. And she was like, listen, this is my refusal to conform to this shit. So she shows up. Now, what's interesting is the movie's actually in black and white. So you don't even see the red dress. You have to listen to the dramatization of like all the
yeah.
actors and actresses in it and how it's described and stuff. But she basically, that point is a turning point, and it's almost like symbolic or like a metaphor for what she had gone through with that whole entire Warner Brothers case, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of really interesting. But I
Oh,
started
yeah,
looking in because
100%.
yeah, do you know anything about Jezebel, like the actual biblical Jezebel?
No.
No, okay. So I looked it up because I knew my grandma used it all the time. Did your grandma ever use like that
Yeah, like a
Jezebel?
whore, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, yeah, so of course I'm like, "Okay, what the hell does this mean, Jezebel?" So I look in and basically Jezebel was a Phoenician queen, so in the Bible, and King Ahab of Israel was married to her, but apparently she was really defiant to Yahweh, which is Jesus,
Yeah.
the like his prophets and stuff. She was very like defiant. And she ended up promoting this Baal worship, but it's Baal. I don't think Baal is the one that's like the two genders. Like it's a deity though. I do know that. And it's a more dark entity, I believe. So she orchestrated these like murders basically and she started like going after she's a whole symbol of seduction, so that's why our grandmothers used Jezebel. My grandma would be like, oh, that
Oh, okay.
Jezebel. That's why. So this was like a
Yeah.
symbol of this seducer and rebellion, so they were always like very rebellious against patriarchy, but I believe by being slutty is kind of what it sounds like. um
Yeah.
Basically the death of Jezebel, like the biblical Jezebel, she was thrown from a window and eaten by dogs was the story, but
Okay.
regardless. um, in the movie though was a little bit different, because I guess in the spiritual circle, the Jezebel was like very manipulative, very controlling. So that part, the seductive, manipulative part, and like kind of being this controlling force and this force of rebellion, Betty Davis had embodied that for the role in Jezebel as Julie Marsden. So she was kind of like, I'm coming, I'm gonna change this fucking thing. And then it metaphored out after her whole lawsuit too. Um, so I thought that was kind of interesting because I like looking at that because now I'm learning too, a lot of the times, most of these like terms where we're like, "Oh, the writer just came up with this." It's not. Most of it's all symbolic. Most of the dates and shit
Yeah.
all fall in line with some fucking calendar of some other entity or force or group or whatever. And the more I'm like learning that, I'm like, "Holy shit. Wow, these people weren't as creative as I thought." I mean, they are, but like it comes from something deeper and sometimes more nefarious. So I thought
Hmm.
that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So the end of the movie then, spoiler alert for anybody listening, but the whole thing was really crazy was she ended up going and she ended up I want to say she was villainized for a while in the movie, but then she kind of came back around. She had to end up like nursing. I don't know if she had like nursed like her former lover back to like health or while he was dying or some shit. So she ended up being kind of a servant anyways. So I think that kind of still embodied like she still had to come back and serve Warner Brothers, but I think because she got some control in there, that's why she was called like the fifth or fourth Warner Brother, whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever I researched it, it came up as both, but yeah. So I thought that was pretty neat, but I also like again the whole movie was about patriarchal backlash for her having some
Hmm.
autonomy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
damn it, bitch.
Either they wrote that with her in mind, or I don't know. That's a good one. I love when I
That's
find
my
stuff
thought.
out,
I
like
was
the
definitely
deeper
like
meaning
I
of
thought they
movies and
had her
stuff.
in mind, and it was like absolutely.
Yeah, how can we
But the
work
one
with
I
her?
think you were talking about with Betty Davis, what's that?
I
You
don't know.
wouldn't want to
Go
work
ahead.
with her?
No,
Oh, okay.
they wrote it because they wanted to work with her, and they knew she'd take that.
Oh, probably. Well, they had to at that point, probably. But also, if she was making money, like they're not going to give up that meal ticket.
Right. It's all about
You
money.
know? Yeah. So the one I think we were talking about though, when you were talking about Joan Crawford and Betty Davis,
Yeah,
is
what
All
movie
About
was that?
Eve, and that was in the 50s. All About Eve.
So they were a little bit older then.
So yeah, this one
They
was
probably
50s.
neither of them were
So
playing
she
like the
played
young girl anymore.
mm-mm. This one's actually another reflector too, which was really interesting to me because this one they say it was like one of her most iconic roles too.
Yeah, I read
She
so
was
many good
playing
things about it.
Yeah, like, they said she was a freaking amazing actress, but she played Margot Channing, and she was, like, this very celebrated, actress, but she was aging, and, like, with the whole like, it was creeping in that her irrelevance was starting to come up because these
Yeah.
younger actresses were starting to come up, and then Eve Harrington was this younger actress and basically came in and was, like, mirroring her, and like, honestly, though, the whole
Hmm.
movie was a mirror to her own, like, what she was living in real life
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just happening throughout Hollywood at the time too.
Yeah. I want to
But
see
she was
those.
noted for yeah, and so oh, no, I'm sorry. The one that we were talking about rather, no, that was not the one with Joan Crawford. The one with Joan Crawford would have been Whatever Happened to Baby Jane in '62. That's
Yeah.
the one. And
All
I think
right.
that one's the one they were like 2 fighting like actresses and they were just kind of like mean to each other, but they had to kind of like they were both aging together and whatnot, so I think that was the one that was kinda based off the 2 of them.
Yeah. That's it. As soon as you
Okay.
said it, I was like, I have to take notes. I thought I'd definitely remember that for a day, but I proved myself wrong.
It's okay, we'll know for next time.
Yeah. Um,
So,
yeah, I want to watch that one
no, this
too.
I do too, I don't mind watching the old ones, but it's hard sometimes because I have kids running and stuff half the time, and then Grady will
Yeah.
come down and be like, "What's this? What's this about?" And he asks every question, I'm like,
Like
Ah,
I've been trying to for like maybe a year, trying to watch like all the old classics that you've heard people talk about for literally your whole life, and you just never saw it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to get to them, like Casablanca, Kramer versus Kramer, stuff like that, like stuff you've definitely
yeah,
heard of. Just
right.
never had the interest.
No, me neither. It's interesting too, like, I remember watching Gone with the Wind with my mom, and I fell
Yeah,
asleep and woke up and it was still on.
yeah, like that's on
Like,
my list, but like I don't know if I want to dedicate that much time to a movie. I don't know if I'm gonna like it.
I know, I know.
The
Well,
slower they are, the more they lose my interest quicker. Like if it's slow for an hour, I'm out.
I know, me too. Yeah, they have to move for me, and I think that's part of, like, our culture now is
Of
everything's so
course.
instant gratification, so it's so
Yeah.
hard. Back then, they were stuck in a fucking Nickelodeon or whatever. Maybe it
Yeah.
was after that, but they were
Yeah.
stuck in a
But
theater, and they had no other entertainment, so they wanted to watch the story and engage in it and stuff.
yeah.
Now, it's like, well, I can go pick up my phone and start scrolling Facebook,
Yeah.
so I'm
Even like
trying to get better with that too.
there's shows that come out that like they really promote or they look really good and have good actors in them and stuff. But I'm telling you, like, I'm so picky now because there's
Me
so many
too.
options that I'll just
There's too
go like,
many.
I'll give it a half an hour out of 8 episodes or 10 episodes. If in a half an hour I'm not interested, I just shut it off and never look at it again. But like people will
Same.
talk about it, and eventually sometimes I'll come back around and like fire it up. But
It's usually,
for the
like, 3
most
years
part,
later, I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll watch
yeah.
this now."
I'm like,
And
all
nobody
right,
wants to
so
talk
we're
about it.
we're an episode in and I haven't seen anything cool happen yet, or I haven't laughed yet. Out, crossed off the list.
Yeah, Luke had a really hard time with, like, the whole 1st season of Stranger Things. He tried the
Yeah.
first, like, episode a couple times, and he's like, "I
Hmm.
just can't get into this." Well, then he watched me I was watching, like, maybe like, middle or late, like, 2nd season, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, what's happening?" And so he kinda got engaged. He still has now gone back. He's like, "I just don't like the 1st season." He's like, "I could
Yeah.
not get into it." I felt that way about Game of Thrones, so I never
Hmm.
ever finished watching it. I watched the
Me
tail
neither.
end of it with him because I couldn't get through the 1st season. I was like, it's even the 1st episode, I'm like, "This sucks."
I
But
tried
I
three
don't know, that was
times.
me.
I
Did
made
you
it to
try?
season two. I made it to season two once or twice. But yeah, I tried three
Yeah,
times and I just cannot. Like
kudos.
the beginning of season two is the furthest I've ever made it. Because I like it was like storming at work. I had nothing to do for 12 hours. So I was like, I'll do that. And nah, no regrets.
Yeah, well, and I
It's just
saw
not
the
for
little
me.
bits that I, like was like, "Oh, okay, this is good. What's happening?" And he would just be like, give me a quick update, and I was like, "Good enough." The storyline seemed great, but it just wasn't one. Now
Yeah.
yeah, Breaking
How can the
Bad, I
whole
thought
world
that was a
like it
great
and I
show.
don't?
What's up?
Hmm?
Sorry. Breaking Bad, that was probably one that I didn't wanna miss any, like, seasons of that, like, I wanted to make sure I was watching. But then Better Call Saul, we just finished that finally.
I never watched it.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah, a million times. Yeah.
Oh, Better Call Saul's the spinoff, it's actually pretty
I
good.
know. I know what it is.
It
I've
just
like
took a
started an
minute.
episode or two, but I just was like, I don't get it. I don't want to
It
watch
took me
this.
yeah, it took me a while, and it ended nice and stuff, but, like, I don't know. Yeah, I just Breaking Bad was so freaking good.
Yeah.
Were you part of the, like, the whole, Walking Dead, like, when that was going?
I watched when I had my hand in a wrap. I couldn't do anything for a while. So I watched
Yeah.
season one of it.
Mhm.
And I had seasons like one, two, and three somebody gave me on DVD.
Yeah.
I watched one season of it. I gave them all back to him. I was like, "Here you
Yeah.
go. I don't want to." I just zombies aren't my thing at all.
I get it. I did not watch the 1st season until later. Luke was watching it one day, and I wanna say it was season 2. I watched that with him. I got really into it. So right around when we had Grady and stuff, but then it got so fucking stupid. I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah,
I was like, "All you're doing is dragging this shit out, dragging it out." Like,
and it's
I
still
actually like the
going.
limited series. What's that?
It's still going.
Is it really?
Wait, which one are you talking about?
The Walking Dead.
Yeah. No, like, so
Oh.
the original show stopped after, I wanna say, like, it was a lot, 13 seasons or something,
Oh,
but
I didn't make it nearly
there's,
that
like,
far.
3 spinoffs. There's 3 spinoffs of it, maybe more, I
I
don't
don't know
know.
how.
Yeah,
Oh, wait, they did do one with, like, Daryl Dixon. Like, even him, I was, like, over
so
him
that's
after a while too. I was like, "Okay, I'm over you all."
but there's one in between that that I know of, and I think there's another one. I don't know.
Oh, man. No,
I
too
don't know if they
much.
got all new characters and put it in a different city, like, what was happening there, like, I don't know, but
Probably. Oh my god, they milked that fucking shit. That was my issue. They just kept milking it, milking it, milking it,
still
and it
are.
was like, "Okay, that's enough."
Yeah. Did you,
Yeah, no
were
more.
you a Lost person when it was on?
No, Jessie was, and she would tell me all about it, and then finally, when it ended, she's like, "Are you ever gonna watch it?" And I said, "No," and then she just gave me the whole ending, and I was like, "Oh."
Okay, so before that, there was these 2 girls, they were basically my best friends in, San Diego, we worked together. Like, we didn't hang
Yeah,
out outside of work, but there, like, we were buddies, and, so I'd have lunch with them, that's all they'd talk about on Friday mornings, because I believe it was Thursday nights. So, and I was like, every day, like, for a couple seasons, I'm like, "What?" Finally, they made me, like, watch the box set. Not like, so it was in, like, say, season 4. I watched season 1, 2, and 3, and I was so hooked, like, I could not wait for work to be over so I could go home and put the next DVD in. It was very
really?
addicting, but then it got real dumb.
Uh,
Seasons like, 4 was weird, and then 5 and 6 is like, "Alright, can this be done now? Please just let me know what
yeah.
happened."
Yeah. That's
Please.
where I was with Walking Dead. I'm like, "Can somebody just fill me in?"
Just tell me the end.
Mhm.
I won't tell anybody, just let me know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Were you Sons of Anarchy watcher?
yeah,
Yeah, Luke watched that, he loved it.
yeah, it was great.
I did not watch that one.
There's so
Um,
much going on, it's so crazy, I love it.
yeah, well, yeah, and it was right up my alley. I think the problem was we had just had Grady, like, and at that point I was working. I still had to go to office all the time at that point. Like, I was working for the state down in Harrisburg. And it would be like you got home at night and, like, I'd have to tend to him, pick him up from daycare, do
Yeah,
dinner, and, like,
gotcha.
that would be Luke's way of, like, relaxing before bed, where I was,
Mhm,
like, watching other stuff on my phone and, like,
mhm,
shopping on my phone and shit like that, or on my laptop at the time, probably.
yeah,
I can't remember, but yeah, so it was different times for me back then.
mhm.
But, yeah, I it's one that honestly, if he'd ever watch it again, I'd probably sit down and watch the whole series with him.
Maybe if we get a blizzard or something this winter, just hunker down and do it.
Probably, yeah. There's just I like the limited series, like the ones that are like 3, 4
Mhm.
episodes and then they, like, have an ending and you can just move the fuck on. That's, like,
Oh,
what I
yeah,
like
there's a
right
lot of
now.
those on Netflix, like,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan too. Like, it's over. You watched it,
Yeah.
it's over, goodbye.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
cool, I like
Stranger
that
Things
too.
is coming back. The last season is coming this month. Those kids are gonna look 30 fucking 5, and they're supposed to be high schoolers. I don't
Yeah,
know
like
how they're
5
gonna do
years
this.
ago, we talked about, like, what are they gonna do with Millie's boobs? She's
Tape
still
them
supposed to be,
down, I
like,
guess.
16, 17.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. I go, "They're gonna tape the shit out of her, and then they're
Yeah.
gonna," yeah, and then have her in baggy hoodies. Yeah,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
CGI that poor girl.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's might actually break the internet, I think, because it's like the 26th and then New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And kids don't go out for New Year's Eve anymore, so guess what they'll be doing? They'll all be on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
It's
No,
gonna get
kids
jammed
don't go
up.
out anymore. Oh,
No.
guess what I got to do this weekend? Um, I went to a 40th birthday party for a friend of mine, and it was a surprise party, and we went up, and there was only, like, there was a nice little chunk of us, but a couple people, like, after my one friend, as everybody was kinda dispersing and leaving the restaurant, because it was just at a, like, a room in the restaurant, And my one friend was like, "Hey, my other friend group just messaged. There's this little tiny bar right down the road from where I live." And I was like, "Eh." And she's like, "There's karaoke." And I was like, "What?" It's been years.
Oh my
So
god. Did you
I ended up
sing?
going to this bar. I have had a sore throat for like a month now. I've been sick for a freaking month now. And I ended up going out singing karaoke. I had a freaking blast. It reminded me of my dad's bar. The freaking I got a soda for $1, I got a shot for $2, and I'm not, like, a drinker, but I was, like, nervous about singing, so I was like, "Go ahead and just give me a shot, 2 bucks, $2."
That's
I was like,
unheard
"What?"
of.
I know, I laughed so hard, I'm like, "Oh, okay, here." Yeah, I was like, what century are we in?"
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, that being, like, the price and people complaining back in, like, the early 2000s
Oh,
whenever my
yeah, the
dad had the
biker
bar.
bar I hung out in for like 10 years with me and all my friends, the whole, you've been there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When they raised it from like they raised bottles of beer from like one a 125
$1.25
to
probably.
135 or something. Everybody was complaining for a
Oh,
bottle of
yeah. Hey,
beer at a
bitch.
bar. Yeah. And then the shots were like, a buck or two. I forget what they were. I think they were $1 actually. But then they went up to
Yeah.
150 and people were complaining.
Well, you'll make fun. I don't drink, like, hardly ever. So, like, when I had that shot, I had no fucking clue what to even order. I got a fucking apple pucker.
Ew.
It was disgusting. It was so sugary and gross, but yeah.
Yeah.
And because I was like, "What the f" I don't even remember what the fuck I used to drink. Tequila, but there was no way I was doing a tequila shot. Not at 43. I would have
That would have
never
loosened
recovered.
you
It
up.
would have taken me a fucking month to recover from that. So no thanks now. So that's what age has done. Um, yeah, but and then it was funny because I did that right before I started singing. Once I got a song down, I was good, and then, I was good by the end of the night to drive home and that, but I stayed out late, but I realized, like, I'm not at the age where just staying up late has repercussions on my body. So I your face. Yeah.
Oh,
So I was like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna, like, not worry about this now.'"
Could you imagine if you did 10 shots and had a couple beers, what that next day would have felt like?
Fuck no. Oh my god, no. I just it's not even worth it now because I still have to
No.
wake up and mom.
Yeah.
And my kids are, like, more self-sufficient now than they were, but, like, you still have to get up and, like, be emotionally, like, available to your
Yeah.
children. At least I
And be
try to
able to
be.
problem solve and stuff like that. Stuff you can't do when you have a liquor hangover.
Exactly, when you're like, "I just don't even wanna live
You're just
myself right
brain
now."
dead till, yeah. It always
Exactly.
took me like if I would do shots, it would always take me like a full next day. Like the next evening, I'd have to have a couple beers to straighten out.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh god, yeah. Oh, I don't miss it. Like, that's one thing I can say.
Nah, it's just it was perpetual for me. Like I just always had, yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, all of
I don't
us,
miss
we
it.
like that's and that honestly, that was the culture then too though. And like I don't think like I'm so respectful to this generation right now for that part. There's a lot of things that bother me about them, but because I'm old now.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say like they're not wanting to get like my niece had said one day, she just turned 22 and she's never like we went to a drag show like a month ago
Mhm.
for fun and she was like, "Anna, can you walk up to the bar with me?" She didn't even know what to order. Like I was like cuz we weren't there to get drunk. We were just getting a drink just to get a drink and she's like, I don't even know what to order." And I was like, "Well, come on over." And I walk up and I was like, "Make us something fruity." That was it. And then we went and sat down at the table. That's all she had was a drink. And then she's like, "I'm good." But like she never wanted to go to the bar. And something I had said to her was I was like, if if you don't wanna go to the bar, I understand because going to the bar really was just an extension of high school parties, and she hated going to high
Yeah.
school parties, and, like, none of them really like it now, so I'm like, it's
Nope.
yeah,
Nope.
kudos to them.
And that Tom Segura, you know him, right? That
Yeah,
comedian.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan, and
So's
he said
Luke.
something that kind of clicked. He goes, "Kids don't drink now because it's like, ew, that's my dad drinks beer. Like I don't
Yeah,
want to be like my dad. Like that's
right.
old. Like well, I don't. I'm not. That's for old people.
Yeah.
Like then they smoke their vape or whatever and hang out and play on their phone. It
Yeah.
is. It's like it did a 180, man. Because
Oh, it
all
really
we
did.
wanted to do just not that long ago, like 20 early 2000s, we
Yeah, oh,
just
yeah.
wanted to be out at a bar. We
Yeah.
wanted to see how drunk we could get, like
Well,
all the
I always say
time, every
for
weekend.
girls. Oh, and absolutely, and you being like a man, tell me if this is wrong, but for girls, I always say to my friends, I'm like, "We basically went out to see which one of us could act the most mentally ill."
Yeah, and then there's that like that dynamic of like a group of girls, like the hot one would be getting hit on. There was always somebody's job to either like cause a distraction or say we have to leave. There was that pack of girls. But there was also
Yep.
just like so many of my friends. Like if I wanted to see any of my friends, and we were all like there was a huge group of us that wanted to like all had similar interests, which was going to the bar on the weekends.
Right.
Um, but like we wanted to hang out with each other, so that's how you had to do it.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
then like you're not gonna have like 3 beers and just hang out and have fun. Like you wanted to get silly because
Mhm.
that's when the most fun happened.
Well, right, and then, like,
So
I know, like, for us, like, it would be, like, how many drinks and shots did it take to get you to the dance floor? And
right,
then you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
yeah,
and that's how silly and then, like, you're watching for a fight to break out, and
yep,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, shit,
It
yeah.
was super entertaining,
Oh my god, yeah.
and
And
then
there
you
would
could
be,
leave
like,
and go to the next one.
actually, my hairdresser just posted on Facebook the other day. She posted a meme that said something to the effect of, like, it wasn't so much the club that you miss going to, but, like, getting ready with your friends and, like, the pre-gaming and all this stuff,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was
Pregame.
absolutely fun for girls too, and I'm sure for guys, but for me too, the other piece of that was not even so much the being out part is, like, the next morning, we'd wake the fuck up, you'd still have all your clothes on because you didn't prepare to sleep at anybody else's house on their floor or couch if you were lucky
Yep.
enough to get the couch, but
Yeah.
you would wake up, you'd be in, like, most of your clothes, my jewelry would be, like, fucking scattered everywhere, my hair and makeup looked like a fucking mugshot, and my breath would smell like the pits of fucking hell, and we'd sit there drinking coffee, just dying about the different shit each of us did, and we would,
Yeah.
like, fill each other in on the stuff that
Yeah.
they missed, and those belly laughs are the ones I crave the most. Those are the
Oh,
things that I miss the most.
yeah. Like reminiscing on how who did the dumbest thing the night before.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Whatever situation. But the late night eats too. We'd all hit
Oh,
Coney
shit,
Island.
yeah.
We'd go
You
hit
guys
Coney
had
Island.
actual, like, restaurants, though, that you could probably stop at. We really didn't,
Denny's
like,
was big, Eaton Park was big, Perkins. Yeah, and then
which
we
shit
just
happened at those
laugh.
places then, too.
We would laugh so hard. It
Oh my
was
god,
great.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Yep.
that's the stuff that I'm like, I feel like when you think you're going out, you think you're gonna get that back, and those days are done, they're not coming back, so you
No,
have to
yeah.
find it in a different way now,
I
and it
saw
like
that the first time I saw that was when uh Keetac wanted to move home so bad. Like she was out of state for so many years. I was like, just don't expect to see everybody out all the time. You're not It's not
yeah.
how it was when we were 25, 28. Like we're in our
Mhm.
30s now. Like don't expect to even see anybody. Really. Like
Right.
maybe you might get lucky and somebody will meet you out, but don't expect that the next
That whole
week or the
crew.
next weekend or the next month. Like that might be a one off. Um and then she came back home anyway and she was so depressed about it. She couldn't
I
get anybody to come out and meet her for drinks. It just
right.
wouldn't happen. Like it was just like me because I was like single and had multiple days off in a row, like 3 days off in a row. So I'd meet her a
Right.
couple days. Or Jimmy Jacoby, who was either, like freed up from 5 p.m. on every day, basically. Like, but that was it. Everybody else had kids,
Mhm.
practices, dinner to make, dinner to clean up.
And
Just
by
never
Friday,
happened.
Saturday night, you're fucking tired. Like, I know
Oh yeah.
parenting. Yeah, and, like, Luke went through something really similar because, like, when we moved away initially, like, because I mean, we moved for me to have a job. We weren't even engaged. He was my boyfriend when we first moved, and, like, that's the thing that, like, I was like, "Shit, he really loves me." Like, he picked up from all of his friends that he grew up with, that he's super close with, and we moved away.
Mhm.
into a place where, like, I mean, we weren't like, Harrisburg was not a, like, a warm and fuzzy city. Like, I had very high expectations. Like, my oldest brother had moved to DC when he was younger, and they were, like, making all these friends with coworkers and going out for happy hours, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so fun." Harrisburg wasn't like that because it was such a small city. Most people were already from there. So, they already had their friends, and, like, a lot of the people I worked with
Yeah.
were all older, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a bunch of young people trying to get their lives started like it was for my oldest brother. So, we ended up, like, only making a few friends down there. Now, my one close friend, Mike, I just adore him so much, but, like, he grew up there, but, like, him and I were the same age, and we ended up starting at a job within, like, I think a week or 2 apart, and we just hit it off right away.
Small
So, like,
world.
yeah, it just kinda worked out that way, but he wasn't a partier because he was in recovery from alcohol, and, and, like, but it was fine. Like, he was, like, I just felt like he was, like, my new, like, little adult professional bestie, and so we had that kind of, it was totally different,
Go to
but
happy
my
hour.
expectations. What's that?
Go to happy hour after work.
Yeah, never. I never went to one happy hour.
Yeah, me neither.
I had to ride a bus, so and it was like I was on a bus for an hour to and from work every day. So, like, most of my life was on a fucking bus. It felt like school, so I was starting to hate my
Mm.
life. Then I got parking down there. I was gifted parking, which was kinda cool. That was around when I had Grady. So then we had a kid, and so, like, at the time, though, like, when we'd come in, it would be so, like, rushed, and, like, we weren't even enjoying our weekend. So, like, Luke was like, "Let's just move home." When we ended up having a second kid, because time was kinda, like, running out. I was 36 when I had Finn, and, yeah, so it was like, "Alright, well, let's get back to town," and we get back, and everybody has kids, and it was totally different. And then his one friend was
Yeah.
passing away of cancer at the time, so, like, the reason we did get together was for the saddest thing ever was, like, they had just had a funeral. Now, don't get me wrong, I treasure, like, the times when you get to see those people, but, like, the loss of him is still, like, we were just talking about him at that birthday party the other night. It was fucking tragic. And, but we had, like, a get together one night with his wife where all the friends got to sit around and, like, tell stories about him and, like, share them with his wife and stuff, and, like, that stuff was nice, but that shit's not something you do all the time.
Yeah.
Even the birthday party the other night, my one best friend, like, she had been up, like, all day, like, while our husbands were out shooting, like, looking for deer and shit and hunting. Her husband did get a deer that day, um, but he had to leave the woods to get to a swim meet, and, like, that's where life goes then, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
the days
Adulting
of
is
doing that are
hard and
done.
it's busy.
It's so busy. So, like, now and then we don't leave much because we have Finley, and again, my husband and I, like, we're together all the time, so we run out of stuff to talk about. So most of the time, it's like, "Hey, do you guys wanna come over and we'll grill something?"
Yeah. Hey,
So, he
it's what you
makes
do.
homemade cheesecakes now.
Gotta make the it's about the life's about the little adjustments. Just this is what we're
Absolutely.
doing now. Yep.